Hello ECE 107, welcome to week 1. This week we're going to be going over chapter 4, the teachers and the caregivers. I wanted to start our lecture off with something a little funny. I'm sure you've seen these on the internet here and there on different jobs. This is what do preschool teachers do? And we all have an idea in our mind of what a preschool teacher looks like. So here we have what society thinks I do, changing diapers. What my parents think I do, gently taking care of infants. What my friends think I do, maybe duct taping one or two children to the wall. Oh, we can't do that. What my spouse thinks I do, taking naps at nap time. I've never seen an EC teacher actually take a nap, except on the weekends. What I think I do, being very nurturing, taking care of the children, and what I actually do. And this is more realistic. We have teachers and children in a circle making art out of leaves. So I kind of love that. First of all, what are some of the functions of teachers, since we're going to be looking specifically at ECE teachers this time? First of all, we are caretakers. We're taking care of the children that are brought to us every day. We're providing emotional support when needed and guidance when needed. We are instructing, giving actual classroom activities and instructing them on concepts and colors and numbers and a whole host of things. And sometimes we're just being the facilitator. We're helping them achieve their learning on their own. So first of all, let's talk about what image comes to mind when you think of a caregiver. So I want you to think of that term, caregiver. We tend to equate that with being just a babysitter, just taking care of basic needs sometimes when we think of caregiver, or giving love, giving emotion, but not really doing much in the area of education. And then think of an image that comes to mind when you think of teacher. And chances are the difference between caregiver and teacher are one is a little less formal and one is more formal and including lesson plans. So how are each similar and how are they different as you consider early childhood education? And I believe the answer of that would be that they're not all that different and that they are very similar. That in both instances, no matter what term you give them, a caregiver will be teaching and a teacher will be caregiving as well. So it can go either way there. What are some characteristics of a good early childhood teacher? Well, first of all, they have to have a passion for the profession. And those of you that are here, you are here because you are interested in ECE. Hopefully you love children. You love the idea of having your own classroom someday and of teaching. So you have a passion already. You have perseverance. You're going to stick to it when you start something. If the lesson plan doesn't go that well, you're going to try again and do it better the next time, make changes as needed. You have a willingness to take some risk because sometimes things don't work out quite as we have planned. You also have tons and tons and tons of patience. You can wait. If you're not a patient person, this just isn't the line of work for you because sometimes you have to wait to get your results. And also flexibility, bend over, backwards, flexibility. So when things get thrown your way in the classroom, when you have an unexpected visitor, when you have electrical outage, there's all kinds of things that can happen. You have to be flexible and creative enough to make it through whatever difficulty you're experiencing. Next, some more characteristics. Respectful of the children. We definitely have to have that as well. We want our children to respect us, but in return, we have to respect them right back. You have to have 200% creativity. And I know a lot of you, that's why you're in this line of work. You're creative, you like building things, you like creating. And you want to express that in your classroom on the walls with the activities that you build for your students. Authenticity, you are you. You have a love of learning, a little extra energy, and a great sense of humor. Because if you don't have that sense of humor, you're not going to make it well in an ECE classroom. They will make you laugh every day. I love visiting the classrooms. So what do you think about this graphic? I had a great teacher at NSU one time that brought this up. He said good teaching is at about 25% preparation and about 75% theater. And when you first start off teaching, that preparation portion you spend a lot of time in, and you feel like that's really the only thing you focus on, but it's not. You may have your lesson plan made out for the day, but that 75% theater is going to have to kick in. You're going to have time periods where you have to entertain. You're going to have times when you're on stage. And that's what the instructor told me. He said teaching isn't just teaching, it's being on stage for the students. You're entertaining and being educational for the parents, for your administrators, for to whoever walks in that classroom. So think about that. You've got to be a little outgoing. You got to be ready to perform when needed. Next, what are some of the staffing requirements we have for an early childhood program? Now, these are just the basics, and I want you to know that this isn't set in stone. This will vary program to program. You may even be working for a specific program, and this could vary center to center within that same program. So just know this is a general guide, that at the top you'll generally have a director or a board of directors, depending on how it's set up. You may then have the head teachers and the assistant teachers, and these may have different names in different centers as well. So they may refer to them as teachers. They may call the head teacher a lead teacher, or they may even call it a T1 and a T2. So if you're unsure, don't be afraid to ask, maybe if you're looking at job opportunities. Also, you'll have support staff of all different makes and models. Support staff that's growing more and more, and you'll see job openings for this, is a floater position. And a floater goes classroom to classroom to help out the head or assistant teacher. So you might keep an eye on that. Also, you may have volunteers in the form of community members or parents. Down here, I've placed the board of directors as well, and also community professionals. So it's going to depend on how your center is set up, how it's funded, if it's receiving public assistance, if it's privately funded. We're going to have different makeups. So next, what's some of the training and regulation in early childhood education? And here's the thing, I bring this up quite a bit. In Oklahoma, there are so many different routes you can take to work in ECE. And again, it's going to depend on the program. So if you're interested in teaching in a specific center, I always tell my students, don't be afraid to call that center, talk to them, do a little informational interview to find out what they require for the position that you are interested in. An example of this is some childhood centers may require you to have as little as a high school diploma or a GED, whereas other centers will want you to have a bachelor's degree or an associate's degree to teach on their program. So be sure and find out. There's also the TEACH program, which is discussed in your textbook. You have the Child Development Associate Program, or also abbreviated as the CDA. And if you're unfamiliar with this, it's a good thing to read up on. The CDA is sort of an alternative certification. And some programs, even if you have an associate's or bachelor's, will also want you to have the CDA. You also have a separate set of requirements for Head Start teachers, depending on their regulation, depending on their licensing, and depending on their accreditation. So there can be a large variety of training and regulation required at each center. Here's a few professional organizations in ECE that you need to be familiar with. NAEYC, you will see those abbreviations quite a bit in child development. It's the National Association for the Education of the Young Child. Something to note is, of course, we do have a Tulsa chapter, but this is nationwide. It's a little bit cheaper to join as a student, so it's a great time to join. $65 as a student, $95 and $120 depending on your level as a graduate. So, and there's also the ACEI, the Association of Childhood Education International, which I'm a member of. It's a little cheaper than NAEYC. I believe the last time I paid my dues, it was $35 for the year. And it's a great thing to have on your resume that you are a member of a professional organization. And it shows that you're keeping up to date with what's going on in our profession. So please do consider one of those. You've got advantages of belonging to ACEI and NAEYC both. You may receive a newsletter, you may receive emails, and of course you also have the opportunity to attend their meetings, and that's a great place to connect with other professionals. So what are some of the current issues that we have going on right now in ECE? First of all, we have historically a degree was not required to teach in early childhood. And by saying early childhood, I mean around infant to about the age of 4. There was really no degree required. However, times are definitely changing, and we're seeing these requirements rise a little more each year. We're also facing a teacher shortage, not just in early childhood, but also in elementary education, junior high, high school as well. Specifically in Oklahoma, right now we've got fairly low pay and a high turnover rate. And I hope to see our state address some of these issues in the coming year by raising that pay. There's always a correlation to higher pay and how long you're going to stay at a school because you feel valued, you feel appreciated. So we like to see that connection. We also see a little burnout in education. If you have the correct support staff, burnout will be a lot lower. However, if you're maybe the only teacher in the classroom, it can get very hard. So it's good as an ECE teacher to be able to reach out, to ask for help, to find out how teachers deal with issues to avoid burnout. And then lastly, we have a low number of men in early childhood education specifically, and we would like to see that number rise because, of course, women are nurturing and men are just as nurturing, and we need to see their presence in the classroom, the connection with the child that maybe doesn't have a male in their life on a daily basis. So they have a lot to add to our ECE classroom, and we would like to try to increase those numbers and recruitment into our profession. That's our goal. And lastly, are there any questions? Since this is a recorded lecture, I want to emphasize that please do email me, text me, call me, or Facebook me if you have any questions or concerns. Anytime between about the hours of 9 in the morning and 9 at night. And yes, I will respond on the weekends as well. So carry on with your week. I hope you have a great week 1. Thank you for being here.